Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Session number 4. I am the host of your webinar, Erin Misiak. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. I see that we've got a couple people that are just currently joining as we speak, you guys, so we will give everybody just a moment to get themselves situated. However, in the meantime, just a couple of quick reminders for everybody. You guys, all of your webinars, they are recorded, so they do take roughly 48 hours for them to buffer, and they'll automatically be sent over to you. So at this time, please check your email because you should have received all of your first 3 recordings. You guys check your junk mailbox for whatever reason. They do have a tendency to go there, so grab them from your junk mailbox. But if you check and you do not see that you have your recording sitting there when we drop off tonight's webinar, please just shoot me over a direct email to erin.misiak@myclientdevelopment.com, and I'll forward that over to the administration department to get that sent over to you right away. Okay, also for any of you that may not have joined the very first session, I did send out the webinar handouts list. So you guys, if any of you still need any of those webinar handouts, same rule applies when we drop off here tonight. Just send me a direct email saying webinar handouts and I'll get those sent to you as well. All right, you guys, I think we've got mostly everybody here, but regardless, you guys are on time, so we're gonna get things started. But you guys, before we do dive in here, please remember you do have a remote control chat box there that you can type in any questions that you have. So I am going to have that open. I'm gonna do my best to address those questions as they come in, but if they don't pertain to what it is that I'm referring to at that time, it does tend to derail everybody else. So at the very tail end, as you know, I'm going to make sure to unmute everybody and we'll go in and address any further questions that we have with the time that we have. All right, you guys, hello, hello. All right, so you guys, let me just get myself situated here, put myself over in the corner. We'll get this disclaimer out of the way. The financial advice and earnings disclaimer, the following information is for educational purposes only. We will not be providing financial, legal, or professional advice. We'll introduce you to strategies that we use but may not apply to your personal situation. Any examples depicting profits, earnings, or results should not be interpreted as typical for the average person. The average person doesn't invest in tax liens and deeds, so they may make little to no money doing this, and many even lose money. All students depicted have learned with one of our experts in one of our advanced training sessions. Please remember, all investing involves risks. Okay. All right, you guys. So before we proceed here tonight, hello, everybody, and welcome. I just got a couple messages coming in there. Hello, hello. All right, well, you guys, I hope that over the weekend you were able to kind of take some of the information up to date. On our last session there, we went into the state of Florida. I showed you where you're able to register for those bidder numbers and basically create and register your username and your passwords for those different accounts. So you guys, please, bare minimum, go on in, get yourself registered, so then that way you will be able to see all of the liens and all of the information that's there within the website. So again, please make sure that you go ahead and get yourself registered. Tonight, we're going to be making a big transition. We kind of spoke about the auction processes and how it's going to work in different states. Again, then we went over to the state of Florida. But you guys, the state of Florida, if you recall, if we're reverting to our 4 tax defaulted investments map, that is a hybrid state. So they sell tax liens and they also sell tax deeds there in the state of Florida. But tonight, we're going to branch out to a redeemable deed or a redemptive deed state, such as Texas. Okay, so an entirely different way of investing, you guys. But for myself, I want to equip you guys with as many different options with the time that we do have. So let's explore how you would get yourself invested in a redeemable deed state, such as Texas. Okay, so you guys, I'm just going to remove myself for the time being, just to make it a little less awkward staring at myself. All right, let's go over Texas and kind of discuss how it's going to operate. So again, you guys, we'll start with the basics and we're just going to kind of elaborate from there. All right, so you guys, in the state of Texas, tax liens are created against your property, but unlike in a lien state, the county is not going to sell the liens. In fact, they're just going to hold them for themselves, you guys, for them to accrue the interest on it. Okay, but after 2 or more years, the property is going to be sold at the auction to recoup the taxes. Okay, so you guys, in these type of counties, the foreclosure happens before the sale. So the county has done all of the paperwork beforehand. Okay, the county, they're going to sell the property at the auction to a highest bidder, and the bidding is going to start at either the past due taxes or the judgment's fair market value, whichever is going to be lesser. Okay, so you guys, excuse me, basically the same thing that's going to happen in every other state. Once the taxes have gone defaulted on the property, the county is going to place a lien against the property. Okay, but as I mentioned, they're going to hold on to those liens for themselves for them to accrue the interest. Okay, but the biggest difference here is that we're going to go into these auctions and participate, but the property owner, they still have a redemption period in which they can come and pay us back. Okay, so you guys typically, well, there's going to be two different ways that you're going to see that the starting bid is at. It's going to be one of two different numbers. Okay, so typically the bidding is going to start at whatever the past taxes are due, plus any interest, plus any fees. Okay, to give you an example of that, let's say for instance, maybe there's 3 years worth of taxes totaling maybe $5,000. Okay, plus the interest, plus the fees. They're going to start the auction off at say somewhere around 7,000. Okay, but you guys, the only time they don't do this is if the adjudged value is basically if the adjudged value of the property is less than the taxes that are owed. Okay, so again, your fair market value or the judgment's value, if that's lesser than the taxes that are owed, then that's where you would see those, that's what they would start the bid at. Okay, but you guys, in most cases, the taxes are going to be less than the assessed value or the judgment's fair market value. Okay, but you guys, that is going to be the rule of thumb. However, there are going to be some exceptions to that rule, of course. Okay, so, and you guys, I've noticed as of late, you have your Dallas County, also your Galveston County. Okay, those are kind of bigger counties there in the state of Texas. They're starting the bidding at more than the adjudged value. Okay, and I'm really not sure how they're getting away with that because of the Texas law. Okay, but I'm going to take you in and kind of show you what it is that I'm referring to there, but there's only the two counties that are going to go against the grain, if you will. Okay, I did contact the county to try to make the inquiry as why, but basically I was informed that they just marched to their own drumbeat. So I don't know if that really helps anybody here, but again, they're just going to operate just a little bit differently. So please be prepared for that as well. Okay, so again, you guys, they're going to basically 2 or more years goes by. That's where they're going to start the auction, and the bidding is going to start at the past taxes or the fair market value, whichever is going to be lesser, and that will be the day that the redemption period starts. Okay, so you guys, redemption periods in the state of Texas, they have what are called Texas Tuesdays. Okay, so it's always the first Tuesday of the month. That is when Texas will have their auction, so Texas Tuesday, and that is the date that the redemption period starts. So you guys, in Texas, it's either going to be 6 months redemption period, or it's going to be 2 years. Okay, so there's a big difference, but that difference is going to depend basically on what type of property that it is. Okay, you guys, if it's a single family home, for instance, like a single family residential, it could be either or, and it would just depend on whether or not the property has been homesteaded. Okay, so for those of you that may not know what a homestead exemption is, remember it means that the property owner, they claim that they live there in that home for at least 300 days throughout the year, and they're claiming that as their primary residence. Okay, so if there's a homestead exemption, you guys, that's where it would be a 2-year redemption period instead of the regular 6 months, for instance. Okay, and I'm going to show you exactly where we would see if that exemption is there or not, and that will be right off the property appraiser webpage. Okay, but you guys, I would say properties, they're typically going to sell at these auctions, again, depending on the county, because county to county it's going to vary. I would say on average, though, you're looking probably at 60 to 65 cents on the dollar. Okay, so if you think about it, you guys, if somebody I would say again, if a property owner, if they're struggling to pay their property taxes today, it's going to be very unlikely that they're going to be able to pay off the whole bid amount plus the 25% penalty for each year that it goes outstanding. Okay, because remember those redeemable deed states, they don't operate off of an interest rate, they have a penalty, and the state of Texas is a 25% penalty. Okay, so you guys, like I said, they'll if they can't pay it off that first year with a homestead, that's where another 25% is now reapplied, so that's 50% on top of that. Okay, and just to give you an example here, okay, let's say that we went into an auction and we bought a property for $50,000. The property owner has to pay us back $75,000. Okay, so that's the 25% penalty, and it's just a straight penalty on whatever we're awarded the property for. So you guys, again, super, super unlikely here that you will not end up acquiring the property, because in most cases, the winner of the auction, you're going to acquire this property because the penalty is so steep here. It's very rare that the property owner would be able to redeem. Okay, so another type of property, and I just wanted to throw this out here, you guys. Another type of property that would be considered a 2-year redemptive period is anything that would be an agricultural property, so maybe 5 acres or greater, something like that. But also if there's mineral rights attached to that property, okay, that would also be included with a 2-year redemption. So anything with a homestead exemption would be 2 years, agricultural property would be 2 years, and anything with mineral rights, that too would be 2 years, but everything else, you guys, is simply going to be 6 months. Okay, so remember, 6 months or 2 years from the date of the auction, that is the redemption period. Okay, so let's just kind of talk about everything being a little bit bigger in Texas. It does have a really massive penalty, like we said, that 25%. Okay, so again, you guys, 2 years from your homestead or agricultural property, please add mineral rights to that list as well, but 6 months for everything else. Okay, so you guys, that 25% penalty, as I mentioned, it's issued on day 1, okay, but that's going to continue all the way up to day 366, and that's where another 25% gets applied. Okay, excuse me. So you guys look at it like this. 25% penalty starts on day 1. So let's say that we went in, we bought a property at the auction for $10,000. The property owner owes us $12,500 day 1. Okay, that continues all the way up to day 366, but that's where another 25% penalty would be applied. So that same scenario, the property owner now owes us $15,000. Okay, but you guys, during this period of time, the property owner, they are responsible for any cost to bring the property up to code. Okay, because you guys, in Texas, the deed purchaser, or if you're awarded the property at the auction, okay, you take immediate possession of the property. Okay, you guys, you're not officially the owner, but you can still go there. You can rent it out. You can live in it. You can basically do whatever it is that you choose to do, except for you can't turn around and sell it because you are not the property owner yet. Okay, but you guys, anything that you would have to do to bring the property up to code so you can rent it out or so you can live in it. Okay, so you don't want to do any type of major upgrade or overhaul here, but if it was something to bring it up to code, like leaks or mold, okay, that would be a great example of that. Anything like that, you guys, would also go on top of whatever you paid for the property, and you're going to earn the 25% penalty on that as well. Okay, but you guys, please make sure you're understanding here, those costs that I'm referring to, right? That's going to be amounts that are reasonably spent by the purchaser for maintaining or preserving or safeguarding the property, if you will. Okay, so repairs, improvements, that sort of stuff, it's all going to have to be required by your local ordinance or your building code. So please make sure that you do have those receipts. You want to make sure to have all of those ready. Okay, but again, you guys, only the stuff to bring it up to code is what's going to be allowable within that for you to be able to receive the 25% penalty on that as well. Okay, but you guys remember, the deed purchaser, you take immediate possessory rights here in Texas, and that's what makes it very different from other redemptive deed states or redeemable deed states. Okay, and I just want to pause here for just a moment because you guys, if you recall, Georgia is also a redeemable deed state, but they offer a 20% penalty. Okay, so with that said, that is where if the same rule, let's say for instance, $10,000 all in, Okay, that's where the property owner would owe you $12,000, but they have a 1-year redemption period. Okay, and what I mean by that is you do not take possessory rights in the state of Georgia. You have to wait that full 1-year redemption period to pass. If the property owner pays up, you get everything plus the penalty, pardon me. If they don't, that's where you would then take ownership of the property. Okay, so they will operate very similar, but obviously very different. And one of the biggest differences, state to state here, you guys, when it comes to these redeemable deeds, is that Texas, ever since COVID took place, it kind of forced everything to operate online. So Texas, they joined forces, they've moved online. All of their auctions, minus a county or two, they're all going to be operating online. But you guys, if you're looking to get yourself invested in a state like Georgia, you're physically going to have to fly there to participate in the physical auction because they don't operate online. Okay, so there's going to be some really big differences there as far as redeemable deed state to redeemable deed state, but you're going to notice that they're all going to have very, very high penalties attached to them. Okay, so you guys, moving along here, when we are talking about due diligence, the biggest problem here, you guys, is that there's simply more than to just buying property at an auction. Okay, it's doing all the due diligence beforehand on the property. Okay, so of course, if you can, please always have somebody physically inspect the property with boots on the ground if possible. Okay, best thing that you can do, but of course, we may not all live in Texas. Okay, so you guys, with that said, on your webinar handouts, I did include a software list. And part of what was on there, we can order photos from a company called bpophotoflow.com. Okay, and I'm just going to spell that out for you guys. That's B as in boy, P as in Paul, O as in Oscar, photoflow.com. Okay, but you guys, that is a company that you can hire for less than $20. They're going to go and take 4 photos of the property. Okay, now they can't physically go onto the property because of course that's going to be trespassing. Okay, but you guys, they can go to all different corners of the property lines, get those photos, and of course that's going to give you a very good idea, especially for those of you that are going after residential properties. Okay, never, ever, ever, ever would I want for you guys to be bidding on any residential property with a structure without getting any updated photos. Okay, worst thing that you can do. If it's an old photo that's sitting there, of course it's gonna look in great condition today, but we wanna see what the condition of the exterior looks like today, because I promise you guys, through my experience, whatever the exterior of the home looks like today, please expect that the interior is going to be in just as bad of condition, typically worse. Okay, so again, you don't want to get yourself into any hidden surprises, right? So please, please make sure that you're using that company if you cannot go there and get those photos. Okay, and you guys, while we're on this subject, I just wanted to mention to you that, say for instance, this BPO photo flow does not operate in the area that you're looking for. Okay, and that's okay. Think outside the box. Something that I have done over the years is that I will use Uber or use Lyft. Excuse me. Uber or Lyft, you guys, basically, I just ask them to come and pick me up at a property that I'm not at. Okay, same as what you would do. But as soon as you see that they have left in your direction, just shoot them a text message. Inform them that you're not physically there at that property. However, you'll tip them $20 to send you 4 photos. I've never had any kickback or backlash on that ever. So you guys, you're going to get charged more because you're paying for the trip to and from regardless. Okay, but hey, desperate times come from desperate measures. So if you do need to hire something like that and pay a little extra, definitely going to be worth your while to do. Okay, but please, like I said, make sure you get those updated photos. Okay, but you guys, that's just one part of it is, again, the photos, but we are going to be going and diving into the tax assessor offices. Okay, every state, you guys, it's going to just be a little bit different. You're going to notice that majority of these counties within Texas are going to call it a district appraisal. Okay, so all the same stuff, that's where we're going to go and start to gather all of our data, all of our information based off of those parcel ID numbers. Okay, but you guys, within there, we're going to be able to see all that information, sales history as well. Okay, but searching the title information. Okay, this is going to be very important, you guys, when we're referring to the state of Texas. What liens are going to survive and also what liens are going to fall off. Okay, so you guys, let's talk about this here. What liens are going to survive? So when we're checking the title, remember we're checking for absolutely everything. Okay, all in capitals, you guys. I can't stress the importance of this because we're checking the title for everything, which means we're looking for any additional liens or encumbrances that may be owed against that specific property. Okay, but you guys, private judgments and liens do not survive a tax sale. Most government liens will survive. Okay, so you guys, if a lien has been placed on a property by a government agency, okay, that would include such as the city, the state, the county, that would be a government agency. Okay, so if a lien has been placed on property by government agency, those liens will survive a tax sale. Okay, it's your government liens, or your federal lien, should I say. You guys, if it's a federal lien, it's just going to depend on the type of lien that it is. IRS liens, they are not going to survive a tax foreclosure. Okay, you guys, I'm going to say that again because I know there's a lot of misleading information on that, but an IRS lien will not survive a tax foreclosure. Okay, an IRS lien, it's not going to survive the tax sale like a code enforcement would. Okay, and you guys, the IRS, they are the exception to the rule, of course. Okay, but instead what the IRS would do, they have 120 days right to redeem. Okay, and if you think about it, in the state of Texas, if it's a bare minimum 6-month redemption period already, then that doesn't impact us whatsoever. Okay, but you guys, excuse me, just so you know what the rule would be is if the IRS does come back and redeem, okay, they would pay you back every dollar amount invested into the investment plus 6% on your money. Hard to believe, right? That the IRS is going to pay interest. Okay, but you guys, that is why it's super, super, super rare that the IRS would ever come back to do so, because they'd have to see that it's worth for them to do to recoup their full amount of the lien that's owed, basically. Okay, so again, please understand IRS liens do not survive. Okay, but you guys, that's going to include, you can see their IRS and Small Business Association, so SBA loans, along with most of your federal, those are inferior to the taxes, but of course they have that 120-day right to redeem. Okay, so state taxation expires in 20 years along with the IRS as well. So if, heaven forbid, you did see that there was a lien that is sitting there, if it's past that 20-year mark, so past 2003, September 25th, okay, that would be 20 years old and it's no longer valid. It's basically dropped off by the statute of limitations. Okay, so you guys, any cost associated with the death of the property owner, that too would be something that would be our responsibility. Okay, so when we're talking about title on a property, we are referring to any of the liens that are going to survive, but we're also referring to any of the liens that are going to fall off. Okay, so you guys, anything like a mortgage or a homeowners association or mechanics lien, those are all going to fall off. It's only those government liens, like I said, that are going to survive. Okay, so take a look at that list in the middle, like your code enforcements, your taxes, your homestead fraud, your criminal fines, that child support. Okay, so you guys, child support, that's a government lien, that would survive. Could you imagine bidding on a property and then finding out that you're now paying off somebody else's child support? No, thank you. That's a terribly bad day. Okay, but you guys, homestead fraud, for those of you that may not know what homestead fraud is, basically the property owner is claiming that they live there over 300 days throughout the year. Okay, but if the county, if they find out that they have applied for that fraudulently, that's where they're simply going to place a lien against the property. Okay, and you guys, at that bottom one, any cost that's associated with the death of an owner. Okay, so you guys, if somebody may have been battling, say, with a long battle of cancer, heaven forbid, and they passed away, maybe they have, I don't know, $80,000 worth of medical bills, that is something that would survive, and that would need to be cleared up with what is considered our excess proceeds. Okay, so how do we take something like this into account to figure out, would it be worth bidding on? And if we do, how much money is going to be in it for us? Okay, so let's talk a little here on these excess proceeds, because you guys, this is going to be a really, really big part of this. Okay, and running those title searches until you are comfortable with doing so, you may want to hire the assistance of a title search company very inexpensively to give you the assistance needed here. Okay, but you guys, let's talk about excess proceeds or these surplus funds, because let's say that there's an opening bid for a property, and let's say it's $10,000, but it sells at the auction for $50,000. Okay, that would mean that we have a $40,000 overage or excess funds or surplus funds, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so you guys, this difference or that difference is what's going to be used to pay off the liens that are outstanding. Okay, so any of the superior stuff that I just mentioned, like your government liens, that's what's going to get paid off first. Okay, then mortgages and any other judgments, that stuff is going to get paid next, but also depending on their priority. Okay, so you guys, when you're running title searches, you're going to log in, select the state, select the county. You're going to notice when you pull up a property owner's name that there's a whole list of liens and also their priority, and also when the lien is recorded. Okay, so there's two things when we're looking at this list of liens and their priority. Okay, there's two things that I want for you to consider when you're looking at what I call is the chain of title. Okay, is what has rights over what, when it was recorded, and more importantly, the lien priority itself. Okay, so I know it's already starting to sound a little confusing, but you guys, the best way I can phrase this is, if the opening bid amount plus the surviving liens, if that is more than what you're willing to pay for the property, then it just doesn't make sense for you to go in and buy it. Okay, that's going to be your absolute minimum cost, the surviving liens plus the opening bid. Okay, so let's say that there's $5,000 in surviving liens and the opening bid is $10,000. Your minimum cost is going to be $15,000. Okay, but let's say that you are willing to pay up to $20,000 for that property, then you guys, it wouldn't matter because the surplus funds are going to go and pay off those additional liens. Okay, now even if you were to acquire the property, say for $12,000, but you were still willing to pay $20,000 for it, then the additional $3,000, yes, it's going to come out of your pocket, but that's also okay because you are accounting for much more than that. Okay, so you guys, understanding these excess proceeds, it's really, really important because ultimately this is going to dictate whether or not you're going to buy the property at the auction. Okay, and I want to just inform you here, you guys, these properties that are going to end up at these tax defaulted sales, they will have liens against them. Okay, sometimes it could be just something like a code enforcement violation or a municipal lien, something like that. Okay, and you guys, that would be more so if, say for instance, somebody doesn't cut their grass. Okay, the county, they usually have about an 18-inch code enforcement. Okay, that if somebody does not cut their grass, and say now it's starting to bring down the rest of the neighborhoods, looking all long and crazy. Okay, 18 inches is their bar. Now, I don't think they go out and measure it exactly. Okay, but if they see that it's overgrown, they're just going to send somebody out to cut the grass. Okay, and you guys, I promise you, they're not doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They're going to do it and they're going to strap a lien against the property. Okay, so code enforcement liens, stuff like that, you guys, what's very important to understand here is that government liens, okay, stuff like that, the government, they want to claim that money. So you guys, they look at these auctions as their payday. Okay, they're super excited for these auctions to come around because that's where they want to come in and collect the additional overage. Okay, so you guys, that's going to be a little bit on the excess proceeds, and I'm going to show you where to go in to run those title searches. Okay, but please keep in mind that Texas is a non-disclosure state, so they don't just supply us with all the information. Of course, we're going to have to either get subscriptions or we're going to have to pay some fees in order to get the forms necessary for us to read to make knowledgeable decisions before we invest. Okay, so keep that in mind as we go through here as well. But let's talk a little bit about I bought the deed and basically now what? Okay, so you guys, Texas, day one, as I mentioned, you can rent out the property immediately. Okay, you can live in it, do whatever you choose to do, but you can't sell the property because you don't own it yet. Okay, you can bring it up to code. Okay, as I mentioned, that's a smart play to do. But you guys, you do not want to do any type of full rehab during this redemption period in the rare instance that, of course, the property owner is going to come back and redeem. Okay, if they do, they don't have to pay you a dime for any of the upgrade. Okay, so please be cautious with that. No major upgrades until the redemption period passes. You don't want to just provide them with a really nice present. Okay, and you guys, if you add $30,000 with the upgrade to a home, you bet that property owner is going to reach out to every acquaintance, right? Every family member that they haven't spoke to in forever and a day, just to get the taxes and the penalty, because again, they wouldn't have to pay for any upgrade. Okay, so hence why that's yelling at us in all bright, bold letters there, no major rehabs. Okay, but again, you guys, 6 months or 2 years goes by and then you're issued the deed. Okay, so I just wanted to mention here, you guys, for those of you that are probably thinking about a rental opportunity, you may be wondering, well, what happens if I acquire the property and the property, I rent it out right away, and now the property owner does come back and redeem on the rare instance? Okay, and you guys, I don't want to sound cold-hearted when I say this, so please don't take it as that. But if the property owner comes back, right, how do we get the property or the tenant out of that home now? The reality of it is it's not your problem. You are not the owner of the property. Okay, so you guys, my suggestion to you, just to make it a little bit smoother, a little bit easier, okay, if you are going to come in and participate here in Texas and say you are looking for a rental opportunity, I would just do a month-to-month rental until the redemption period passes, and then put your lease agreements, whatever that may look like. But ultimately, you're not the property owner, so it's not your issue if anything takes place from there. Okay, so just wanted to inform you of that. But again, you guys, this shows that rentals in the current climate can be tricky. I go completely against that, you guys, and I know that this slideshow was made a few years back. So anytime you can have a rental opportunity within your portfolio, it just makes sense. You have somebody else paying off your investment. Okay, so you guys, even if you can hold those properties for, you know, several years, depends on the state and their rules or regulations, but sometimes if it's 10 years, for instance, that's where you'll be able to avoid paying any capital gains taxes, being a secondary residence. Okay, so again, know your different rules and regulations per state to see how it's going to play in your advantage. Okay, but you guys, quiet title action is still going to be completely necessary here in the state of Texas. Okay, so remember, we have to go through the quiet title to turn it into a warranty deed, guaranteeing that there's no liens or judgments. Okay, so that's basically a title company is going to put their seal approval on it, and then once they've made sure that that's cleared, that's where title insurance companies are willing to put their name on it. In Texas, you guys, you're looking start to finish about 4 months to complete. Okay, and on the high side, expect it to be about $2,500 for the quiet title in the state of Texas. Okay, and you guys, just in case you were curious, when, say you're awarded the property at the auction, okay, this is where, because you're not the owner of the property, the county is going to issue what's called a sheriff's deed on the day of the auction. Okay, and then once your redemption period passes, say 6 months later, that's where they'll actually issue the tax deed. So you still take full ownership of the property at that point, but you guys, this is what I was mentioning, once you do so, that is where you're going to go through the quiet title action. Okay, and again, you're just simply transitioning it. So the quit claim deed into a warranty deed, which means there's no other liens or encumbrances that are owed against the property. Okay, and you guys, I just wanted to note in here, for those of you that are looking to go into Texas, say for an Airbnb potential, okay, you may want to do just a little research on the areas, because as of September, they banned Airbnbs in certain areas of Dallas. And so again, if that's something that you're looking to bid on for an Airbnb, you'd want to know your rules and regulations there within that specific county. So they are kind of cracking down on certain areas with that. So again, that's just only if you're looking for like an Airbnb or VRBO scenario. Please just read your local ordinance of what they're going to allow. Okay, so all right, you guys, that's on I bought the deed and now what? But something I also wanted to address with you is what is called the struck off list. You guys, the struck off list, it's kind of unique. You won't see it in every state, but basically a property is going to go up for sale. And if it's not sold at the auction, that's where it's going to go to the county. Okay, so you guys, if it's not sold at the auction, the state takes ownership, so the clerk just records the title to the state. Okay, now, once they have done so, the county is most likely going to try to auction off again, and all they're really going to do is they're going to drop the opening bid just by a little bit. Okay, so they'll lower that opening bid. Maybe they'll drop it from, say, $15,000. Now the opening bid will be $12,000. Okay, but you guys, if the property, if it's not bid on again, this is where the property is going to go to what's called a struck off list. Okay, so this list, we will be able to see it when we go into the county here in just a moment, when you look at the auction results. Okay, but I'm not going to say, you guys, that's your most efficient way to find struck offs, because you're going to go through every calendar auction and start to write them down. They're basically sold as an over-the-counter certificate. Okay, so you guys, what you would do is you would basically be reaching out to the county that you're interested in and just ask them how to proceed with looking at their struck off list. Okay, so they'll have different sources that will sell them, but these struck off lists, like I said, they're kind of sold as an over-the-counter certificate. It's a first come, first serve. Okay, but you guys, with how much property value has increased over the past year, it could be a really good play with what's going on with the current market. Okay, but again, you have to contact the sheriff office to get the list, and then you'd go from there. Okay, but you guys, this list, what makes it unique is that it is completely negotiable. Okay, so if they've already tried to re-auction it off and now it's in the state's name, they are the ones that are paying the property taxes moving forward. Okay, so if they tried to auction off for $15,000, then $12,000, you may want to give them a call and say, I'll offer you $5,000 for it. You never know, they may take it. Okay, because again, like I said, they're paying the property taxes in the meantime, so they may be willing to do that. Now, I don't want to sugarcoat this either, you guys, because if it's been auctioned off once and it never sold, and it's been auctioned off a second time and it was still never sold, okay, there could be a reason for that. Okay, so you may be searching for a little bit of a diamond in a haystack, but hey, if you find something that's awesome, don't hesitate either. Okay, so you guys, moving along here of the what else's. Okay, there's a lot of misleading information out there. So one thing I would recommend that you all do is log into your myclientdevelopment.com accounts. Okay, if you have any questions for your one-on-one coach, please also reach out to them. Okay, but you guys, we're gonna get you familiarized here at where we went into for our last session under that realauction.com. Okay, so remember, anything that we're going to take a look at as far as the auctions, we're going to stick under the real foreclosure tab. Okay, so you guys, let's go in here and take a look. Let me just open this up and unshare this and close this down. Okay. All right, so you guys, I just want to start here by going into, whoopsies, try that again. Okay, realauction.com. Okay, so you can see when I pull this up, same thing as where we went there on our last class, but you guys, just really quickly, you're gonna notice that there is a trainings tab here. look into it. Every now and again, they're going to have a bunch of new stuff that's on here, but you're going to notice that if you're looking now, right now, they just have bidder training videos. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to go in and get your bidder numbers, etc. But you guys, this will show you sometimes some mock, not webinars, should I say, but mock auctions and things like that in the training. So they're free. You can always join the wait list. You can see all classes are free. So if that's something that helps you, please use it. Okay, but you guys, where we'll always be focusing on is under this clients tab up here. Okay, when I click on this, and remember here are our 4 tabs, and just to kind of reiterate, so you guys, real foreclosure, that's where we're going to go for any of the auctions. Okay, so deed auctions, foreclosure auctions, redeemable deed auctions, all of that is under the real foreclosure. Okay, for those of you that are looking for tax liens, you would click here under the real tax lien tab. Okay, and then once you've purchased your tax liens, this real TDA, that stands for tax deed application, that is only in the state of Florida. Okay, but you guys, this is where once we purchase the tax liens, where we would come to force the foreclosure online. Okay, and you guys, this real TDM is just Florida related, so get yourself acquainted with all these, but under the real foreclosure, okay, so you guys, you're gonna notice when I scroll down here, okay, you can see that it's basically going to show a bunch of different counties. Arizona, I don't know why they don't have Arizona at the very top there, but here's your California, your Colorado, so you can see it's in alphabetical order. Okay, I'm going to spare us all. I'm going to jump over to page 4 because that's where you're going to see where Texas starts. Okay, so you guys, underneath here, you're going to notice here is our state of Texas. Okay, so you guys, Texas, it's huge. Take a look, all of these different counties, okay? And they're gonna start here on page 4, but that's where they will continue on over here on page 5. Okay, so same rules would apply, you guys. If you don't know the state of Texas and you don't really know where to start, try your world population review and then start Googling whatever city, counties, again, in the state of Texas instead of Florida. Okay, but you guys, I just am going to take you in here first off because, as I mentioned, there's 2 counties that operate just a little bit differently. So I'd like just to show you kind of cosmetically what that looks like, but Dallas County being one of them and Galveston being another. Okay, so you guys, for those of you that have not yet registered for the state of Texas, that is the first thing that you're going to do. Okay, so you guys, whichever county you select, it does not matter. But once you do so, this is where you're going to come in the middle of your page. You're going to click on your register. Okay, steps 1 of 4, so pretty straightforward registration, but you guys, the same rules apply. Please do not auto-populate any of your information within here, because if you do, you're going to have to start all over. Okay, it'll all be filled out, but it won't allow for your next button to highlight, and you'll be wondering why. That's why. Okay, so don't auto-populate, just type it in the one time. We only have to register just one time in Texas. Once we have that username and password, the same username and password will apply for all the other counties in Texas as well. Okay, so you guys, when you come in here though, first name, last name, okay, email, confirm your email, phone number. When you put in your phone number, you may want to put in your cell number because every single time you log in, if you've been logged out for just a small period of time, they are going to send you a verification code. Okay, they'll send you an email at the same time, so you can put in your email if you put in a home phone, for instance. Okay, but you guys, zip code, of course, your Texas or whatever state you're from, but on the second page, that's where there's going to be 2 boxes. Okay, one of those boxes is going to say nickname, and the other box is going to say name on title. So you guys, nickname, just leave it very generic. You can just put in your first name, for instance. Okay, but the name on title, if you're awarded the property, that's going to be the name that the county is going to transfer the title of ownership into. Okay, so please make sure that you either put in your business name or your full personal name or maybe your IRA name, whatever that is. Okay, but you guys, then it's going to ask again for you to create a username and a password. So just follow the steps, but once you've created your username and your password, please write that down. Remember, that's your username and password for the state of Texas, real foreclosure. Okay, so you guys, you can see once you've registered, first name, last name, I've got my username up here. Okay, you're gonna notice right when I do so, okay, I've got my cell phone handy here because they just sent me a text message. Okay, so I'm gonna type in my number, 580-690, and we'll hit submit. Okay, and you guys, just to warn you, something that is a little, well, I think it's very annoying with Texas, is that when you come in here and you create yourself a username and a password, every 90 days, it's going to demand that you create a new username and password. Okay, you cannot use any of your older username or password names within that new username or password. So just be prepared for that every 90 days in Texas, you will have to update this. Okay, but you guys, I just want to show you here that when you come in, I'm just going to log myself off quickly and get myself back in here because maybe when I do this, I'm not 100% certain it will, but 475801. Okay, you guys, let me just see if I log in. Okay, this right here, I just wanted to show you guys when you log in, okay, please make sure as soon as you've created your username and your password, you're gonna notice that you will be established a bidder number up in your top left-hand corner. Okay, that is my bidder number to come in and bid in Dallas. Okay, so every county you will have your own bidder number, but it will all be correlated under the same username and password. Okay, so you guys, county to county, I want for you, and you will read these every time you come in. Okay, you can't bid without it, going through all of them, but this is basically saying, hey, it's moved online with their tax foreclosures. Okay, here is all the updated instructions. So again, county to county, this is going to vary, and this is one of the reasons I brought you in here. Dallas being one of your bigger counties, you guys, you can see download the requested written statement document, which is right here. Okay, so then you're going to have to get it notarized. You're also going to have to send in a $10 check. Okay, it gives you all of the information as well. Okay, but upon the receipt, the statement, etc. So you can see it's going to give you all this information. That's what you have to do in order to register, but you can see it does have to 3 to 5 business days for the receipt research. Okay, so there are different timelines, you guys, of when all this has to be in. But once it's done just once, you do not need to do it again. Okay, this is just an information regarding ACH transactions. So you guys, most counties are going to allow for the ACH transaction, and that stands for automatic clearinghouse or automated clearinghouse, which basically in a nutshell means we're able to type in our account number and our routing number. Okay, so they're just mentioning that they are allowing that, but also you guys, they have increased from $100 bidding increments in this county. They're now at $500 bidding increments. Okay, so update on the refund procedures. I'm going to show you where to get your refunds, and you guys, instructions for managing your escrow account. So this escrow account is where you'll place your deposits in order to be able to bid. Okay, so in order to come in and participate, you will have to put a 5% deposit down. Again, read the instructions. It may change county to county, but 5% of whatever your maximum bid is going to be. Okay, so you guys, if you're bidding up to $10,000, you'd have to place a $500 deposit. Okay, if you're bidding up to $20,000, a $1,000 deposit, etc. Okay, but you guys, if we win the bids, that's where they're going to withdraw our deposit amount right away. And that's where you are expected to pay out the balance within the 24-hour period of time. Okay, however, if we don't win the bid, there's zero penalty for us to come in here and try. Okay, but you guys, they're not just going to redeposit our deposit money directly back into our bank account. So if you want that money back, you're going to notice that there's going to be, again, under this manage escrow. I'm going to take you in and show you that in just a moment. Okay, so you'd fill out the information, that money will get redeposited back into your bank account. So please be made aware though that there is no penalty for you to come and try. Okay, but you guys, again, read all of this when you come in. When you get to your home page, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so you guys, again, if you had your deposit in place, it would show here. It's also going to show when it's pending because we can type in the information, but it's going to take several days for it to clear. Okay, so you guys, before you can ever bid in any county, you are going to have to come in here to your manage escrow. Okay, some of these are going to say make deposit. Okay, so again, county to county is just going to vary, but you guys, if we were looking to place a deposit, so make a deposit. Okay, there's 2 options that they're providing us, ACH payments or wires. So if we want to do ACH payments, Okay, you guys, you can see funds must be drawn from the financial institution. They take 5 business days here. Okay, so if your deposit is not there in time, your bid is null and void. Your deposit is just as important as the bid itself. Okay, but you guys, again, you would just click on next. This is where you'd put your amount, your account, your routing information, pretty straightforward stuff. Okay, but let's say now you've got your deposit, you've bid at an auction or two and you haven't won anything and you're like, I'm gonna get out of this county and I'm gonna go into another county, because county to county, they operate independently. So you will have to place that deposit there as well. But you guys, you can see that refunds, you can type in partial deposit amount, full deposit amount, that's completely up to you. Okay, and then once you do get your deposit money back and you click on the request refund, here's your date allotment of how long it will take in order to get this money back. So paper check, you're looking about 15 business days. Electronic, you're looking about 4 to 5 business days. So it's going to happen very quickly. Of course, if it's wired, they're going to wire it back, but that will also charge you the fee. So be cautious of that. And you guys, you may have online wiring with your bank account. I hope that you do. That's very efficient. Okay, but this is where you're going to come in and basically even make your payments, and the county is going to give you the information of how to make those payments exactly. Okay, but you guys, up here, your calendar tab. Okay, so this calendar tab, it's, as you can see, it's a calendar. Okay, so you're going to notice that Texas Tuesday, the first Tuesday of the month, is when we had the last auction. Let's just jump over here to October. You guys, you can see that they do have their October's auction coming up Tuesday the 3rd. Okay, so it would be pretty quick acting to get your deposit in place to be able to bid here, but that's what you would need to do. And you can see that currently there's 36 out of 42 properties that are being auctioned off. And you guys, if you want to watch this auction take place live in front of you, you just simply have to come right here and click on this at 9 o'clock Central, and this will be happening live. Okay, but you guys, take a look to prepare for any type of upcoming auction. You're going to notice that they're going to auction these properties off one at a time in the exact same order that you see them sitting here. Okay, and then over on the right-hand side, you guys, here is the kind of the little differences. Every other state calls this a case number, not Texas. Nope, they call it a cause number. Okay, so I would have thought that's a mistake, but it's not. That's just how they call it. This is what you're going to come in and do your due diligence. That's where you're going to start to do the due diligence based off of. Okay, but you guys, take a look. This is your adjudged value that I was mentioning, or your estimated minimum bid. Okay, so this right here is your status quo normal. Okay, your estimated minimum bid is going to be lower than the adjudged value of the property. Okay, but you guys, you're going to notice in this county, however, see how we've got something that's completely opposite. The estimated minimum bid is above the adjudged value. Okay, here again, pretty substantially at that. Okay, this is not your normal. And again, you're only going to run into this here in Dallas and also in Galveston, where your estimated minimum bid is going to exceed the adjudged value. Okay, so always it should be your estimated minimum bid is going to be the same or lesser than the adjudged value. Okay, so you guys just be made aware of it, and I just kind of wanted to show you that in here. But again, they're going to auction these off one at a time, the same order that you're seeing here. So you guys, you can also come in and say you placed a bid on this property. Okay, let's just say you placed a deposit of $1,000 to be able to bid up to $20,000. Okay, and bear with me here. Let's say that all these numbers line up. Okay, or let's just even, we'll up it. Let's say that we placed a bid for $50,000 on this property and this property and this property and this property, but we can't afford to pay $50,000 for all 4 of them. So $200,000, we have $50,000 to be able to bid on. That's okay, you guys, because this operates off of a proxy bid system. So say for instance, again, if just doing the numbers with me, say that the auction starts and we are not awarded this first one. That's where deposit money is still in place and our bid for the next one. Okay, let's say we don't win this one, but now we win this property for $50,000. Okay, that's where our deposit will be eaten. So if we don't have any further deposit in place, any bids that we place past that are considered null and void regardless. Okay, so once you use up your deposit money, any further bids you place are null and void. Okay, so that's a nice way to protect yourself as well, of not going in and putting in too much deposit. Okay, because if we're awarded these properties, remember you guys, you will have to pay off the balance within a 24-hour period of time. Okay, but you guys, you're gonna notice that right out of the gate, your judge values, they're probably gonna give you a little bit of an indicator of whether it's a residential property or perhaps it's a vacant residential. Okay, so vacant residential properties, because there's no structure, their assessed value is going to be much lower. So again, that's kind of one way to tell, but you guys, you're going to start by clicking on your case number, your cause number here. Okay, that will show you your account, which is the same thing as the parcel ID number. Okay, we've got all the information, including May Barrett, who is the property owner, because it's the county versus her. Okay, but you guys, here is the physical property address of the property as well, the legal description on the property. Okay, but underneath here, and I apologize, I can't scroll down, but you're gonna notice at the bottom here, appraisal district, property images, satellite view, and Zillow. Start by going into your appraisal district. Okay, and you guys, when you pull up your appraisal district, some counties will redirect you automatically, like this one. Some of them are going to ask for the account number, so you're going to copy that parcel ID number and just paste it, and that will pull you up to your page. Okay, but you guys remember, when we're talking about Texas, the biggest, most important part is there any type of exemption to be made aware of? Okay, so you guys, where I'm looking, you can see here's the address of the property. Okay, I happen to notice that Ola's address, the current owner, is not the same address. Okay, so right out of the gate, if it's not the same address, we should not see that there is going to be any type of homestead exemption. But where you want to confirm that, you guys, is right here in the middle. Okay, here's your exemptions right here, and there is no exemption whatsoever. So this is a 6-month redemption period. Okay, and please keep in mind, you guys, that will be majority of properties, a 6-month redemption period. Okay, but from here, you guys, this is where you would then go into your property map, for instance, and start to take a look at your property lines. Okay, do not bi-step this step. Remember, it's very important to make sure you can see the property lines. Okay, there it is right beneath here, so we can see visually, right? We can even move this just to see a little bit further. Okay, I can tell you what though, just looking at this right now, it looks like your neighbor's property is over encroaching on this particular property line. Okay, now you guys, I say that, but I notice all of them are off in the neighborhood, so probably not. Maybe the grid's just off. Okay, but this would be a starting ground. Now you guys, it doesn't look great right out of the gate. I'd say we got a big overgrown tree here right in the front yard. Okay, but this is where you'd start with your property lines. Okay, now you guys, if you are going to be running comps in Texas, because it is a non-disclosure state, I do recommend that you use your Property Edge Pro software to be running any type of comps on these properties. Okay, so you guys, Property Edge Pro, get yourself familiarized with it, but this is where we would take the actual address of the property. Okay, it's in Dallas. I'm going to take this over to our Property Edge Pro, and this is where I would paste the address right here. Okay, there's Dallas, it pulls up. So you guys, here's the property right here. I can either just click on it and pull up the information, but you can see that today's value of the property is $226,588. It shows how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, the lot, the year, etc. Okay, but underneath here as well, you guys, this will give you a ton of different information on the property. Okay, so please, for those of you that have not got yourself used to your Property Edge Pro software, this is where I want for you to be running any type of comps, because this is direct from the MLS. Okay, so again, you guys, this will be able to show you any of your comps and everything like that right here in your Property Edge Pro. Okay, but you guys, from here, okay, so this again, you're gonna start to come in here, get your stats from your Property Edge Pro, but this is where you would come in and place your bid. Okay, so remember you guys, they also operate off of a proxy bid system. So let's just say, again, we put in a maximum bid here of 50,000. Okay, but this auction starts at 31,851. Remember, it's in $500 increments. Okay, so if the last bid was 40,000, I'm not going to get charged the full 50 of what I was willing to pay. I will get charged the county's proxy bid, which is their next increment higher than the last highest bid. So if the last bid was 40,000, I would be charged 40,500, not 50,000 of what I was willing to pay. Okay, but you guys, also your property owner's information. Okay, this is where I was mentioning you are going to have to go into a website here, and we're going to get you familiarized with this more so tomorrow, is your Netter Online. Okay, so you guys, when we come into Netter Online, this is where we'll go into the public records. Okay, now again, we're just going to select our state. Okay, and from there, we would have to select our county. Okay, so I'm in Dallas. Okay, and then you guys, once you get in here, you can't really go too much further because you're going to notice your clerk recorder by subscription only. Okay, so you are going to have to come in here. You're going to have to register for a subscription to be able to pull up those title searches, to paste the property owner's information here to gather all your data. Now, you guys, you can still go in and pull the information up. Sometimes it's going to have a sticker over that says unofficial records. Okay, but as long as you can still see all the information, that's all that matters. Otherwise, you are going to have to pay about $1.50 per document. Okay, so please keep that in mind. But you guys, lastly, I want to show you here. Say, for instance, you want to go back and take a look at previous auction results. Okay, please make sure you do that before you ever proceed forward, because let's go back to September here. Okay, these ones here were canceled. Now, we don't know the reason for that. That could be any reason. Okay, but this one was paid prior to sale. So you see that the property owner came in and paid that off. Okay, pulled to incorrect legal. So you guys, if there was something that was wrong with the parcel ID number, a mismatch, a parcel mismatch that they may be trying to rectify. Okay, so they may auction that off again, pull to repost at a later date, paid prior to sale, but here's one that was auctioned off. Okay, so this was actually not auctioned off. It was for the actual estimated minimum bid. So nobody bid it higher. So that's what they were ended up being awarded the property for, was the estimated minimum bid. Okay, but you guys, what I'm looking, oh, here's one right here. Okay, I just wanted to show you that you're also going to run into your struck offs. Okay, so you guys, you can see that this is one way that you can come in and take a look for these struck offs. Okay, here's the estimated bid, here's the adjudged value. So you guys, they will try to re-auction this, and how you will know that it's been auctioned a second time is up here. Instead of it just saying sale, it will say resale. Okay, so if you see that it's struck off again from the resale, that's where you know it's gone to the list, so you can just contact the county directly. Okay, but you guys, please come in here and take a look at all of the previous auction results, as I mentioned, before you ever proceed forward with any auction. It's really going to give you a very good indicator of what you should be expecting county to county. Okay, so this right here, you can see that, yes, it's going to have some pretty good competition, but again, you guys, it's going to vary, right? So for those of you that are looking to come into Texas, would I advise you to come into the most busiest area, the biggest, one of the biggest counties, most desirable counties? Again, this is going to be where your biggest amount of competition is going to be. Okay, so you guys, something I just wanted to mention to you here, because these title searches are so important here in Texas, and they're not super easy to pull the data of what's needed, you guys may want to get yourself acquainted with, sorry, I had a brain lapse there. You may want to get yourself acquainted with this company right here, easytitlesearch.com. Okay, now you guys, I would not recommend this for you to be doing title searches on tax liens where you're most likely going to get redeemed regardless. But if your chances of acquiring property are so much greater, I would say that this is a very smart call to reach out to easytitlesearch.com. You guys, they charge $39 for a title search. They will get every bit of information that you would need to have pulled. And again, making sure that there's no government or those federal liens. Okay, because that's the stuff that these title searches will pull. So if you're getting yourself invested tens of thousands or, you know, hundreds of thousands, $39 is a really nice way to make sure you're sleeping soundly at night, that you're making sound decisions. Okay, so please utilize them if you feel it's important, but again, you don't want to use them for every single title search that you're pulling. So only on the properties that you're super, super excited about. Okay, but you guys, this is just one county to go into. Okay, and I just want to show you that because we were already in Dallas, say that you want to peruse into a different smaller county, for instance, like Nueces County. Okay, just put in the same username and password. You'll click submit. Wait for your little verification code to pop up here. Let's see. Here it is, 525504. Oops. 525504. Okay, and hit submit. So again, read your rules and regulations on here. Same thing, come into your calendar. But you guys, I just wanted to show you because this had quite a few properties being auctioned off. They have some big auctions right now. Okay, but Nueces County sometimes, or some of these smaller counties, they may have just a few properties that are being auctioned off, not like a whole handful. So if that's the case, do you really want to go put your deposit money there when they may be redeemed, although unlikely, before the auction? Okay, but you guys take a look. Here's what you're going to kind of see for normal stuff. You see how we had just a bunch of stuff that was canceled and pulled in Dallas as well. Okay, this auction is in $100 increments, so you can see same thing, 26.1. This property was bid for here, but you guys, this is kind of neat too, is every time you are coming back into an auction result, you can look at the bid history. Okay, and when you do, just so you'll know, this is what it will kind of look like for other people to see there on their end. You guys, here is how the county references the person or the people that came in and bid on this property. So 2, 4, 6, 8 of them. 2 of them did not have enough deposit. Okay, now maybe they did have enough deposit, but maybe they were awarded a property that was auctioned off before that. That could be it. Okay, but you guys take a look. You can see that these are the dollar amounts of what people went in and bid on these properties for. Okay, so 20,000 is a high one, but then we have 26,100. So that was the second highest bid. Okay, so you guys, down here though is where the actual live auction results are. So the opening bid shows for that 5,700, and you can see again that the next bid would have been 20,100. Okay, so that would have been the same bidder number, 5124. They would have been awarded it for 20,100, but somebody came in, they outbid to 22,000. Then the bidding war started again. They countered back the auto bid 22.1. Okay, and remember their maximum bid that they put in was 26,100. They actually ended up got awarded the property for exactly what their maximum bid was. Okay, so, and you guys, something I want for you to notice here, okay, when you come in and you start to bid at these auctions, if you're going to put 26,000, 25,000, 24,000, I believe that we're all programmed to kind of bid in those round numbers. So you're going to notice for those people that bid 26,100 or 300, that's going to give yourself a much higher chance of acquiring the property, even by putting the additional $100 increment. Okay, so judge value estimated minimum bid here, you guys, you can see that somebody put in just the exact dollar amount while somebody outbid it, but they didn't have enough deposit there. So with that said, that's the winning bid for the exact dollar amount, and it will show the investor's name down here if you've invested. Okay, but again, you guys, you've got your struck offs in here, so keep your eye open, come in with Texas. Like I said, it's a whole different way of investing, but you guys, you do have a very, very, very high chance of being awarded the property here, opposed to being redeemed with the interest. Okay, so very different depending on what you guys are looking to do. But you guys, I want to open up here and unmute you all, which I just did. So please go ahead there and unmute yourself so I can take a couple moments to address any questions that you have. And I don't see I've got anything written in here, you guys. So please, and Una, I see that you do have your hand up. Yes, Dana, go ahead.
Hey, Erin, in a struck off, if the county assumes the property, pays the tax or whatever, does that eliminate all the other liens that might be existent so that when we go into the struck off, it will
Yes.
be probably no tax, other liens on it.
Right, that's right. Yep, so you guys, the struck off list, that's part of that. So it kind of revokes any of that as well. So again, do your diving through there, because if you can find a diamond in a haystack, it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. Please do. Anybody else? Anybody else? Not tonight. Everybody's busy getting themselves registered. All right. Well, you guys, if there's any more questions, please think about those. But in the meantime, just to prepare you for tomorrow's class. So tomorrow we do have a really big one. We are going to be covering due diligence. Okay, so you guys, I'm going to put together, we're going to bounce back to the state of Florida. And the only reason for that really is because remember, that is the only state that we are able to purchase county held liens any day throughout the year. Okay, so I'm going to go in and somewhat randomly pull some tax liens for us to evaluate together, because you guys, I mentioned at the beginning that I'm much more of a visual learner. So I want to incorporate a good tax lien, but I also want to incorporate one that's going to present some warning signs. Okay, so if I can show you the stuff to avoid, that's exactly what I hope to do. Okay, so there's a few things that are very easy to see. And so if we can show you that, that will get you on the right path of the stuff to avoid. Okay, but that's where we're basically, we're gonna have those parcel ID numbers. And you guys, we're gonna fill in a spreadsheet together. We'll go in and find the face value, the redemptive value, the roll-up amounts, the assessed values. Then we are all going to calculate what those opening bids on the properties will be. Okay, so please have a calculator ready and handy, because we're going to calculate the interest and what those opening bids are. And remember, we ultimately are going to be the opening bid once we push the property to the auction. Okay, so I'm handing out cyber cookies tomorrow for whoever calculates it first. Fat free, they're delicious, right? So, but yeah, you guys, I want to make sure to get you on the right path there to get your due diligence and sort of the different websites that you're going to go into. So tonight, I know we kind of just tapped into that Netter online, but tomorrow we will be running a title search to show you exactly what you guys need to see once you're in there and what's going to pertain to you, because there's a lot of stuff, you guys, that doesn't pertain, so I don't want to get you in the weeds either. Let's just stick with everything that you guys need to know to make knowledgeable decisions before you purchase. Okay, last call. Any questions before I set you free till tomorrow? No. Sorry for my raspy voice here tonight, you guys. It was a Lions game last night. We won, or yesterday, so I was there cheering them on. My first victory since living here in Detroit to witness, so really fun. Go Lions. All right, and I've got just one quick question here. No, that's not a question. It's just a thank you. You're very, very welcome. All right, you guys, well, get yourself some rest, get yourself some food there. We'll see you all back same time, same place tomorrow. We're going to build from here. So get your calculators ready and just bring any questions to the table that you have. All right, you guys, have a wonderful night. Thank you very much. We'll see you all back here tomorrow. Bye, you guys.